Okay, let's skip the usual long intro and do exactly what our sources for today preach. We're jumping straight into the action. In this explainer, we're going to combine the secrets of God-tier video editing with the actual published sports science behind Lionel Messi. We're looking at how to build a highlight reel worthy of a player who, honestly, seems to literally defy physics. So think about this for a second. What exactly makes Messi's dribbling mathematically perfect? Just keep that mystery in the back of your mind because we are going to answer it with some absolutely mind-blowing data in just a minute. Now, by opening with that little mystery, we actually just used a psychology-backed viewer retention strategy to hook you right in. The data shows that content using a pattern interrupt within the first 5 seconds sees a 23% jump in retention. Our brains are just hardwired to notice the unusual, you know? Breaking a predictable pattern essentially forces us to pay attention. And let's be real, absolutely nobody breaks patterns on a football pitch quite like Messi. Moving on to section 1, we're looking at the biomechanics of pacing in edits and sports. Look, to edit a sports video like an absolute god, you basically have to master 4 key things: editing to music, building energy with your pacing, using pro sound design, and getting creative with your effects. Elite editors, they don't just randomly drop clips over a beat. They let the music dictate every single cut. It is exactly like a roller coaster. You go fast, you slow down to build tension, and then you rebuild that momentum. Every cut has to be rhythmically motivated. And here is where it gets crazy. The pacing of a truly great edit perfectly mirrors the biomechanics of Messi's dribbling. His movement essentially operates as a sequential kinetic chain, broken down into 3 phases. First is preparation, where he lowers his center of gravity. Then direction change, shifting his body weight while keeping the ball glued to his foot. And finally, propulsion, where he converts all that stored energy into explosive forward movement. Just like a masterful edit, it's all about building energy, timing the cut perfectly, and exploding into the next moment. The real secret allowing him to time this so perfectly comes down to one very specific number: 0.9 meters. That is his incredibly low center of mass from the ground. By staying that low, he massively reduces his rotational inertia. Scientifically speaking, this lets him turn 0.2 to 0.3 seconds faster than taller pro players. He is literally structurally built to cut faster than humanly expected. But it actually gets crazier than that. His electromechanical delay, which is the time it takes for his brain to send a signal to his muscles to output force, is estimated at an astonishing 40 milliseconds. For context, the typical range is around 60 milliseconds. Because of this superhuman reflex, he can absorb 800 newtons of force in just a quarter of a second. That's what gives him that nearly seamless braking and reacceleration. Let's picture this in action. Think back to that legendary 2015 Champions League semifinal. Messi is isolated against Bayern Munich's Jerome Boateng, right? Messi slows his dribble right down, reading the defense, laying the bait by hinting at his left foot. Boateng is standing way too vertical, and he takes the bait. With Boateng's balance completely compromised, Messi uses that insane 40-millisecond reflex delay, cuts back, and famously drops him to the floor. And then adds insult to injury with that gorgeous chip over Manuel Neuer. It is a masterpiece of pacing, tension, and explosive release. All right, on to section 2, sound design and vision. In the world of editing, dead silence absolutely kills viewer retention. Sound design is what gives your video texture. It immerses the viewer. Elite editors will actually map out patterns of whooshes, impact hits, and dings before they even drag a single video clip onto their timeline. Once the visuals are in, they layer in the crowd noise, the shoe squeaks, the ball bounces. It's this hyper-awareness of sensory inputs designed to guide your attention exactly where they want it. And this layered sensory awareness, it's exactly how Messi's visual motor coupling operates. His eyes are essentially his own internal sound design. Eye tracking studies have shown that Messi actually fixates on the ball less than 30% of the time. For the other 70%, he's constantly scanning his environment, tracking opponents, and mapping out spatial context. Thanks to his elite vestibular-cerebellar integration, he can keep his balance without even looking down. That means he's anticipating defensive reactions a full half-second early, which is exactly how he deploys those laser-guided passes. Let's jump to section 3, the historic pattern interrupt, and how he shatters predictability. We're going to compare 2 moments in football history that totally broke the mold. In the 2006-2007 season, a 19-year-old Messi scored a goal against Getafe in the Copa del Rey that was almost a spooky exact replica of Diego Maradona's legendary goal of the century against England back in the 1986 World Cup. I mean, the similarities are just uncanny. When you look at the hard data behind both of these miracles, it's wild. Messi traveled 55 meters in exactly 12 seconds. Maradona went 61 meters in 10.6 seconds. Both runs started right from the midfield. Both players hugged the right side of the pitch. Both of them beat exactly 6 rivals, including the goalkeeper. And both capped it off by slipping the ball right into the net in the exact same way. It was the ultimate real-life pattern interrupt, executed with mathematical perfection.
Moving into section 4, let's talk about the physics of free kicks and how he literally bends physics.
So, the secret here lies in another very specific number, 50 degrees. According to sports science breakdowns, when Messi steps up to strike a free kick, his standing leg is planted at an exact 50-degree angle. On top of that, he plants almost his entire boot completely flat on the grass. This gives him maximum stability and control, hunching his body into the super compact position so his striking foot can basically just caress the ball. But how does he get it up over the wall and dipping into the top corner? Well, he relies on something called the Magnus effect. By putting a very specific spin on the ball, he actually alters the air pressure around it. The pressure on the bottom of the ball gets higher than the pressure on the top, which creates a perpendicular force that forcefully curves its trajectory in mid-air. He is literally bending physics to his will here. And the results absolutely speak for themselves. In his first 10 seasons, Messi scored 19 free kick goals. But in just the 4 seasons after he turned 28, he banged in 27 of them. So why the sudden massive surge? Well, he started mixing up his technique. As he's mentioned himself, he occasionally strikes it slightly differently just to keep the goalkeeper second-guessing until the very last millisecond. By weaponizing that unpredictability, his goal-scoring consistency actually skyrocketed later in his career. Finally, Section 5, master the edit and the objective science behind it all. Look, everything we've talked about isn't just subjective fanboy observation, it's hard objective science. A major study published in Frontiers in Psychology ran a polar coordinate analysis on 103 of Messi's goals over an entire decade. They used a super specific observational tool to analyze literally every single motor skill he deployed right before scoring. The huge takeaway from that study was that Messi operates with the ball as a single, unified biomechanical system. The data proved significant links between his precise foot contact zones, his explosive turn direction, and this concept scientists call mastering lateral synergy. Basically, that's his ability to perfectly balance the absolute precision of his dominant leg with the unshakable, grounded stability of his non-dominant leg. So we're not just looking at raw talent. We are looking at a perfectly calibrated, scientifically measurable system of motor skills. Which leaves us with this final thought. We've seen exactly how a video editor can engineer virality using psychology and pacing, and we've seen how Lionel Messi mathematically conquers physics using pure biomechanics. In the end, they are both just mastering the fundamental, underlying laws of their crafts. So, what's stopping you from mastering yours?